Today, we are going to be talking about the basics of crafting here in Albion Online when it comes to crafting armors and weapons or any types of things that you want to do, whether you want to sell it on the market or craft your own gear to use. I'm going to go over the basics on the Destiny board as well as the different city bonuses on where you should be crafting different types of weapons and armor, as well as towards the end of this video, I did bring some materials with me to do an example craft session to get to a certain level that I want to make certain items. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open the Destiny board. And if we start in the middle and we go to the right, this is going to be the craftsman section. So you're going to see these different green lines that are branching out. And what we're going to be talking about is the warriors, we have the hunter's lodge, and we have the mage tower. Now, all of these kind of correspond to the other side of the Destiny board. So the warrior is connected to the different types of armor pieces. You have all the plate chest pieces, plate helmets, plate boots, and then you have all the different types of warrior weapons, like the maces, axes, swords, all the different types, as well as for the hunter lodge, you'll see all of the leather and the different type of armor that you can craft. And then we have the mage tower stuff. So for this one, we're just going to look at the mage tower for an example. We could do this for any of them. And to get this unlocked, we're going to have to craft a level 2 novice, so a tier 2 novice fire staff. We have to craft this. Once we craft that, which you can even do this on tutorial island when you first started. If not, it shows the materials down here that you're going to need, which we'll talk about here later in this video. It'll unlock journeyman, mage, tower, crafter, and then we have access to all of these tier 3 items, and each tier 3 item, if you craft it, will then begin to unlock a different tree down here. As you can see, I unlocked curse staff, I have frost and arcane because I've done some crafting in those areas. To get those unlocked, I had to craft curse staffs until I got tier 4 unlocked, frost staffs, or arcane staffs. Now, when it comes to actually crafting, like we were talking about earlier, if you click on the item, you can actually see the materials that you need to make that item. So we're going to need 16 chestnut planks and 8 neat cloth, which is the tier 3 refined resources. So tier 3 planks and tier 3 cloth, we need 16 and 8 to make a one-handed holy staff. And once we get down here to the tier 4, so if we craft enough of these, we will get the tier 4 unlocked. And now we have access at level 1 to crafting tier 4 of the holy staffs. So you can click on them and see what they require. So two-handed is going to require a different amount of resources. And then if we go to the one-handed, we have 16, 8, and we also have the artifact. So you can actually, down here is just the recipes for it and what you need to actually craft that item. So make sure you have this on you when you go to the corresponding station to get that item crafted. But for this video, we're going to be crafting some holy staffs, as well as I do want to craft a adept holofall, a tier 4 adept holofall. So I did bring the items with me. I don't have any holy staffs unlocked. We just have the ability to craft tier 3 holy staffs. So I brought items to craft some of those, as well as I brought some tier 4 so that we can craft the staff and some one-handed holies, as well as I did bring some adept imbuers journals, which this is for the mage tower. The crafting journals, there is blacksmith, fletcher, tinker, and we have the imbuer. And what you do with these is you keep them on you, and when you do the different types of crafting, depending on the station, it'll fill those journals, and those journals can either be used to sell on the market for profit, or you can give them to laborers on your island to bring back resources that can be used to then craft again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Fort Sterling, and that's where we're going to do our crafting. But before we do that, we're going to talk about where should we craft these holy staffs, because it does matter where you're crafting, whether it be staffs, any types of weapons and armor. So we're going to open up the map, and we're on the Royal Continent, and this is going to be an important feature that you can check in every single city: Thetford, Fort Sterling, Martlock, Bridgewatch, and Lyndhurst. We're going to click on Fort Sterling because that's the city that we're currently in, and there's going to be a drop down menu up here on the right. You're going to click down on that drop down menu, and you're going to see the local production bonuses, which is 40% for wood and 10%. There's an event going right now, so I would just ignore that. And then we have crafting bonuses of 18%, and we have 15% across the board for plate helmets, cloth armor, holy staffs, spears, and hammers. And what this means is, what this percentage is saying is, if I go into Fort Sterling and I go to a mage tower and I start crafting holy staffs, any of the materials that I put in, I'm going to get 15% of those materials back that I can then use to keep crafting. So if I put in 100 planks, 100 tier 4 planks, I'm going to get 15 back. And then I can then recycle those and use them to craft again. And I'll keep getting this resource return rate. This right here is a 10% offhand event. So this can stack with the corresponding offhand city, which I believe is Martlock. So if you were to be crafting offhands and you went to Martlock right now, they have a 25% crafting bonus in Martlock for offhands. So if you were to come here and start crafting offhands, you would have that bonus. And this is the part that comes in when, if you want to go craft, let's say leather chest pieces, like you want to craft a lot of mercenary jackets and you want to sell them, you would be crafting those here in Thetford because they have a leather armor bonus. Get a 15%, you get more value for the resources that you use. Most likely though, the resources that you need to craft leather jackets are going to be more expensive in this city, just because a lot of people are buying them there and crafting. So you'll see a lot of crafters transport from other cities that have the resources cheaper, bring them into Thetford, craft the leather jackets, and then they will then transport the leather jackets out and sell them at different cities on the royal continent. And that's a lot of the economy aspect of crafting. People will transport to different cities to sell their products at a higher price, because in the city where it's actually crafted, like over here we have leather helmets and leather shoes, in the city that it's actually crafted, it's going to be cheaper because everyone that is crafting these is, if they're being lazy about it, they're going to sell it in this city and they're not going to get as much of a profit. If you want to, you can take it to another city like Bridgewatch or Martlock, sell them there. They might sell a little bit better, or you can transport them to Caerleon. Some things sell better in Caerleon, some things sell worse. But you could also do mass crafting for the black market. And the black market is a separate market here in Albion Online that is system. And what it does is it has a certain demand of items, let's say plate boots, like tier 4 plate boots. You go there, you list them, and when the game demands them, it will buy them off of this black market and send them into the world for any type of open world drops, solo dungeons, any of the RNG chests that are in the world. Any of the items that you've gotten in a chest before was sold on the black market, and that's something that you can do when crafting. So that's one way that players do. They'll sell at the black market. Just keep in mind that you do have to go through lethal zones to get to the black market. A lot of people will do transports and they'll take scouts, and there's a lot of gankers and red zones. So black market transports is a dangerous activity. Do keep that in mind. It's not going to be an easy one, but it is very profitable. Luckily, I live in Fort Sterling and we have a holy staff bonus here, so that's what we're going to do for our crafting. So this is the process that I'm going to use to find a station. So we're going to go into Fort Sterling. Once we are in Fort Sterling, the first thing that I do is I open the map, and we have all of the different stations here. So right here we have the Hunter's Lodge. If you're trying to do anything from the Hunter's tree line, or you're trying to craft any of the leather headpieces, chest pieces, or boots. We then have the Warrior's Forge for all of your plate armor needs and all of the warrior weapons such as swords, maces, axes, crossbows, and all the different types of weapons for it. And then we have the book, which is the Elder Mage Tower. Now the Mage Tower is the one we're going to be going to because we're going to be crafting at that station. Now I'm going to mouse over every single one and try to find the cheapest usage fee. So we have 400 here, and we have another 400 here. I might just go here. So it says the usage fee is 400. A lot of them will be higher, like 9999. If you go to this one, you're going to be paying a lot of silver to craft your items. You're going to be losing out on a lot of profit. So be careful with some of these stations. A lot of people will set up these stations and raise the price to max just so they can scam a lot of the newer players coming into the game. So just avoid those stations. Don't craft on them. Try to find a cheaper one. And this one right here is the one that we're going to go craft at. So here we are at the Mage Tower. We're going to go up to it. And this is going to be the interface. It's kind of the same on every single crafting station when it comes to crafting your weapons and armor. There's going to be a weapons tab. There's going to be an armor tab where you're going to see all of the different types of armor that you can craft. And there's going to be a study tab. We're going to talk about that right now when I craft some of these staffs. So the study tab is like, if I do some tier 3, I can throw them in here. But what I'm going to do is we're going to start with the tier 3 holy staffs. So I'm just going to craft 5 of them just as an example first. And right here, it even shows that we have a 24.8% return rate. I know it said 15% for the town. I don't know the exact math for it, but just know that 24.8% is going to be the resource return rate that we're going to get when we craft this for the 80 and 40 that we're throwing in. So we're going to pay this and we're going to craft them. And here is our 5 holy staffs that we got. So what you can do with these is we have no use for them. So you can actually throw these back into the study tab, and we are going to get fame back to help us towards our progress. So right here, we're going to get 4,000 fame. And then we do have a study cost. So we're going to study for 432 silver. We study, and now we got the learning point reached for holy staffs. So I can use learning points now. I'm not going to, because we're just going to craft some more and study them. But studying them is a faster way to get to the higher tiers that you want to get to. So I'm just going to mass craft like 10 of these. And let's see if we can get it from that. I also have some potato salad on me. So I'm going to wait for this to get done crafting and we'll talk about it. Sometimes when you're doing mass crafting of items such as boots or any type of helmets, and even when you're refining too, potato salad will increase your crafting speed by 50% and the crafting quality by 100. This one is a cheap option to help you craft faster, but you could use other things, like there's a food called Kraken salad. Kraken salad is more expensive, but you do have a chance to get higher quality. But for the most part, you can use potato salad. There's different types of salads you can use. So we didn't get the level yet, so we're going to throw these in here and we're going to study them. Let's throw those in there. Let's study. Okay, we just hit a milestone. which means we have now unlocked Holy Staff Crafter for tier 4. So now we have access to the tier 4 staffs, and once we start crafting these, we'll make progress towards tier 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're just crafting one-handed holy staffs. So I'm going to only show craftable from your inventory. I'm going to check mark this so we can only see what we can craft. Now these are red because I don't play holy staff, so I actually don't have spec in them, but we can still craft them. So right down here, this goes for armor too. If we're to check mark this, we can only craft tier 3 because all we have is cloth, but check marking this can make it easier for you to filter what you can craft. So we are able to craft Adept Holy Staffs, Divine, Great Holy, all the non-artifact, but I brought one artifact with me. So you can either buy these on the market, or you can take runes, souls, or relics, and you can go to the artifact foundry and you can re-roll them to get a chance at different types of artifacts. This would be a whole separate video that I could talk about this, but for the most part, just look at if you're trying to craft, let's say, a holofall and you don't know what you need for it. The easiest way is to open up your Destiny board, go to the Holy Staffs, click on the holofall, and scroll down and see what you need right here. This is the best way to do it. You can see the resources you need to craft that item, and then you can see if you have the spec. So we do have the spec to craft it, and we're going to talk to the station. We're going to press on the holofall, and this right here is for the different enchantment rates, but you are going to need enchanted materials to craft them. So we would need 4.1 planks, which means tier 4 enchant 1 planks, which is collected from the open world and then refined into this. So you would actually have to have these on you, and we don't have any of that. We're just going to craft a flat 4. So we are going to craft this, and there is our holofall, our tier 4 holofall. Now we're going to pour the rest into, I'm just going to craft some tier 4 holy staffs, but I'm going to take a potato salad real quick so we have a faster crafting rate. We're going to throw it on here. 24.8%. We're crafting 19. We're using all of our materials right now. So when we go to craft these, once this is done, it's going to spit out materials back at us, as well as fill up our imbuer journals. And we should have enough materials to craft a couple more holy staffs. So it spit out materials to us. It filled 3 of the journals, and now we can craft 4 more. So we're actually going to craft those. Okay. We can still craft another one, so we're going to craft 1 more. And those are done crafting. We did lose some value because there is different things you can do to, some of these might sell and sometimes the average market value is different. But for the most part, when you're crafting in the cities like this, the margins will be thin depending on where you're going to sell and what you're doing with it. But this is the basics for getting stuff crafted, as well as we did fill these journals so that we can sell these. This helps offset if you do have any price loss. And if you are a premium user in game, you do get 30,000 focus. Well, you get 10,000 focus a day. And a lot of places that people will use this is for either high tier refining or high tier crafting. I would not use focus on low tier crafting, especially when you don't have spec. So right now, if I was to, let's say, craft 1 holy staff, it would cost me 1,281 focus, which is not good. But you would use focus to get an increased return rate. So let's say that I was crafting a 4.4. Like I had these resources, and for the most part, they're a little bit more pricey than the regular resources. Or if I was to craft, let's say, if we go down to let's say we're crafting something extreme like an Elder Shadow Caller. This is worth 1.34 mil for one of them, and it's worth 1.3 mil. You can use focus and get an increased return rate so that when you craft with these expensive materials, you'll get some back and you'll make money doing it, so that you can save some of the you can save more profit and get a lot more value out of your crafting. So that's somewhere that you would use focus if you are a premium user. But if you're not a premium user, you can still use this method. Now, the last thing that I want to add is going to be the crafting bonuses for the Outlands. So if any of you are thinking about joining a guild, and that guild may own a hideout, when it comes to the Outlands, there is crafting inside of the hideouts. And this area is called the Inner Circle. As you move out, it's going to be the Outer Circle, and the bonuses are going to be less. And by bonuses, I mean if we were to click on this square on the Inner Circle and click on this drop down menu, they have a 40% crafting bonus for leather, armors, cloth, dependent on, this is technically a Thetford zone, so it's kind of like the Thetford areas, or it has the Thetford bonuses, but there's a 40% increase rate, and this rate can get even higher depending on the level of the hideout and the nourishment that it has. As well as on bonus days, these numbers can get up to 60%. So a lot of people will do transports through the roads of Avalon, go to their hideout, they'll do mass crafting there, crafting hundreds of plate boots or hundreds of leather helmets, take those back to the Royal Continent, transport them back, get a scout. You have to safely do it, of course. You have to avoid gankers, and they will sell it on the black market in Caerleon and make tons of profit doing it. And this is one of the methods that a lot of Black Zone crafters will do. So, but that's for later in the game. This is just the basics for crafting, but that is something that you can do if you do want to get more involved with a guild and crafting into the future. But for the most part, soloing and transporting stuff around the Royal Continent is something that you can do to make profit. But that's going to be it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned some things and some basics about crafting here in Albion Online. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see all of you in the next video, and I'll see all of you in Albion Online.